If you're thinking suddenly I've become taller, so there's a stool here. So, good morning, ladies, and the very few privileged gentlemen who've come here with the special reservation bill passed by the IMA Women Forum. What an honor and delight to have you all here. I mean, look around you. So many women getting ready at 9:30 and being here in one. So we've just created history. So I think we all should give an applause. 8:30 Sama here, yeah. So welcome to the second Women Leadership Conclave by the Indore Management Association. I believe every woman is born with a flame. It's a flame of goodness. The flame, if fed and cared for, grows in a woman until you can see the light in her. It shines from her eyes. She leaves traces of it on every person she interacts with. And I'm delighted to have a gathering of such radiant women here today as a part of the conclave by IMA. Originated in 1963, Indore Management Association has come a long way in helping professionals, entrepreneurs, business houses, students of Central India. IMA has engaged itself in guiding industrialists and business professionals in current management practices and knowledge sharing. We are a proactive, focus-based, and one of the fastest growing non-profit management associations of India with strong national and international linkages, and is a winner of Best Local Management Association Award for 15 times. We are affiliated with the All India Management Association, IMA, as one of its constituent bodies. We have direct and indirect membership of over 3,500 members, including corporates, entrepreneurs, professionals, business people, academicians, and students. Many great luminaries, both nationally and internationally known, have graced the IMA platform. The primary objective of IMA is to facilitate continuous growth and empowerment of the corporate world through leadership and management development programs. One such initiative is the IMA Women Forum. IMA Women Forum is a platform for women to learn, interact, network, and lead. The IMA Women Forum is a mix of women entrepreneurs, CEOs, directors, professionals, and senior managers. Over the years, it has been organizing various management events like business quizzes, financial literacy programs, team building activities, on-site field visits, and many more. It was in the year 2019 we came up with the first Women Conclave and very, very successfully made a mark. We have had a bright galaxy of speakers as a part of our first conclave, ranging from the corporate world to the entertainment industry, education, startup, and food industry, with prominent personalities like Ratna Pathak Shah, Chef Anaita Dondi, and Advocate Puneet Bhasin. It is our proud privilege to present the second Women Leadership Conclave. Our speakers today are eminent women who have broken glass ceilings, have pushed the frontiers of women's leadership, and have paved the path for other women and girls to follow their footsteps and become future leaders. From their stance and area of influence, they have shown that when a woman's voice is heard, and when she participates in decision-making, and when she exercises her leadership, she most likely brings up something very unique, special, and of very, very high value. This is our attempt to motivate and inspire the women to be courageous, challenge norms, stand up for what you believe in, so that when you are in your rocking chair, your grandchildren from many years from now will have lovely stories to hear, and one of the chapters will be the IMA Women Conclave. Thank you so much, and welcome to all of you.
Thank you, Chani. Now, it's time to hear from Ms. Kirti Kabra, a trailblazer in the electrical industry. Let's get to know the role of women in family business. She's someone who has developed small businesses into big enterprises in India and across the world. First, can we have a small introduction on the screen, please? Kabra, Director, Promoter and Head of Brand Communications at RR Global. Kirti has shattered glass ceilings and emerged as one of the most accomplished and influential women leaders in a traditionally male-dominated field. Kirti's remarkable journey is characterized by her unyielding commitment to excellence and unwavering determination. She has been a driving force in promoting diversity and inclusivity within RR Global, fostering an environment that values different perspectives and backgrounds. Under her visionary leadership, RR Global has evolved into a powerhouse brand, both domestically and internationally. Her strategic focus in marketing and communications has not only elevated the company's profile, but has also solidified its position as a leader in the electrical industry. Her dedication to exceptional quality, transparent business practices, and effective communication has firmly established RR Global as a benchmark for excellence. Let's welcome Kirti Kabra.
A very good morning to the dignitaries present over here, ladies and gentlemen. I am excited today to share the dais with eminent personalities, intellectual audience, interacting with them and giving me energy to talk and take it forward. I know I'm going to learn a lot today from all of you, and that's what excites me. Thank you, Indore Management Association, for giving me this opportunity. Role of a woman in family business. Fundamentally, I don't even agree to the subtopic what I'm talking about today. It gives me a feeling that as if I'm in a minority, whereas we are 50% of the population and should be equally involved. We have conquered all the domains where a few years ago were only male-dominated. All the qualities required to be a successful entrepreneur are by default inborn in us, as our initial years of house management teaches us so many aspects of planning, budgeting, your procurement, training, and also relationship management. We all know, and all the men here also will agree, that a woman is sincere towards her responsibilities and her work. She is hardworking, she is calculative, she can manage her professional and domestic affairs very successfully and flawlessly. She is also a multitasker, and she edges over the men in emotional quotient too. So when she is capable in every aspect, then why she has to struggle and prove herself every time? It's because in family business, she doesn't get the same opportunity the male member of the family gets. She is expected to stick to certain domains which are typical female domains. Some of the family members sometimes do not trust her enough that she would be at par with men. What is smooth ride for a man is a hurdle race for a woman. We really need to step out of our comfort zone, accept the challenges, prove ourselves, and we really need to earn what we deserve. And trust me, this is not difficult, and I think all the successful women present here have done that. So here I am to share some examples of my professional journey. I come from an era where girls were supposed to get married earlier in life. I got married when I was still studying. The logic given to me was, अच्छा लड़का है, अच्छा परिवार है, business family है, बड़ी city है, you will get an opportunity. Being born and raised in a business environment, I actually grew up with the dream to become an entrepreneur. What really appealed me was, you will get an opportunity. I actually negotiated with my parents and my would-be father-in-law for the desire to get involved into the family business. Yeah, that was too much at that point of time. I appeared for my final year graduation when I was in last months of my pregnancy. A year later, when I was planning to get involved into the business, life threw another challenge at me. My mother passed away with a very short disease at a very early age. I was 23 at that point of time and my youngest brother was 12 years old. Again, my professional dreams, my dreams of life has taken a back seat. And for next 15 odd years, my life kept revolving around my family, playing different roles of a daughter-in-law, a wife, a mother to my children, as well as my siblings too. But all these challenges and the problems, responsibilities, I would say, not problems, but did not deter me to achieve from my dreams. So the journey of my professional life started in late 30s. Around 2.5 decades ago, when we decided to get into the manufacturing of wires and cables, our vision was to create a sustainable model of business, create a marketing-driven company, and create a global brand. I thought this is the golden opportunity for me, and I happily accepted the responsibility of branding, communication, and at that point of time, marketing also. The first collective decisions we made was about the brand name. RR stands for Ram Ratna, which is my mother-in-law and father-in-law. And we switched cables to Kabel. Kabel is a German name for cables, and we all know Germany is well known for quality engineering. This way, our brand name becomes synonymous to quality and as well as represented the global presence. Going further, the challenges at that point of time were many. The major were 90% of our industry was dominated by unorganized players who were compromising with the quality, adopting unethical practices like underplaying. On the other hand, peers were strong, having more muscle powers, and they were building their brand upon misconception, miscommunication, and creating myths like wires that don't catch fire or 25% electricity saving. The bigger issue was the consumer was unaware of using the dangers of using inferior quality products. Those who were quality conscious were believing the myths prevailing in the market. Those who were price conscious were not ready to pay for the quality products. And the biggest problem was the end consumer who was paying for this product and whose life was at stake was not even involved in the decision making. I was trying to find a solution to this challenge. Misguiding a communication for the product like electrical wires and cables is like playing with their lives. To me, it was no less than criminal offense. My ethical and emotional values did not allow me to go and accept the trends in the industry at that time. So the only solution I could think about was bursting the myths prevailing in the market. And I took a bold decision. I needed a TV commercial with brand ambassador Akshay Kumar and made a very bold statement: all wires catch fire, but it's the thick, black, toxic smoke which is more dangerous and life-threatening when it comes to the electrical fires. This was a big statement. Competitor went to the court against us, which I was anticipating. Family got panicked and I was questioned about this bold move. But I was confident and was well prepared for the counter strategy. Finally, the competitor had to pull their campaign down and not us. Signing a celebrity itself is a challenge. When we approached Akshay Kumar's office, they informed us that he would be busy for the next 2 months for outdoor shooting and is available only for one week. And also they had their very particular norms that this director, this story writer, this studio only, and was not ready to delay for any reason. So, right from signing to the celebrity, to conceptualizing and shooting, everything was done within 1 week. Going further, planning a media, buying a media, taking the film on air was done in flat 1 month's time. That was really This film and this message created quite a buzz in the market and was scripted by me. All I want to say here is that being a woman, I was able to do this, take the right decision, bold decision at the right time involving mind and heart, both. I could stand strong with the truth, take calculated risks, think ahead of time, and the reward was our brand was perceived as trusted, honest, and consumer-friendly brand. When I could do that without the higher qualification of the subject, I think anyone in this audience can do much better than what I have done till today. Going further, I got quite a few good time in COVID time, and through market research and through market surveys, I was trying to understand the buying journey of the consumer of this product. And I realized that though the consumer is getting aware now, his decisions are still influenced largely and is by an electrician. I was thinking that how can we be on the top of mind of this influencer, and came up with unique idea. We launched a scholarship program for the electricians' children who graduated their 10th standard board exams. RR Kabul Star Scholarship Program awards 10,000 rupees each to more than 1,000 students pan-India. Last year, I traveled across 10... Thank you. I traveled across 10 odd cities in pan-India to provide this or to award this scholarship. This initiative was appreciated by the electrician community, and I'm sure this will take the brand from loyalty to legacy. Some of the companies have already initiated a similar kind of program which endorses the fact that I am in a right direction. Today, as I stand in front of you, our business has achieved global reach and our company got listed in BSE and NSE. This clearly endorses, thank you. This clearly endorses the power of determination and dedication. My story is a reminder that in face of diversity, a woman can rise and success is sure to prevail. This holds true in personal and professional lives both. It's not about the stormy nights we will go through during our journey, but what is more important will be our ability to rise and stand strong after each fall. To all the women and the young students present in this auditorium, I implore you to embrace your dreams, challenge the norms. As the famous proverb says, wise proverb says that women's strength knows no boundary. So let your journey be marked by resilience and hard work. At the end of the tunnel, there is always a sunshine. I would be happy if I could motivate even a single woman in this auditorium. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kirti. I'm sure many women could relate to her story. It's an inspiration how you faced the challenges that came your way. Thank you for sharing your story. We have now Ms. Malini Thadani. With an extraordinary educational background, she belongs to the field of finance, but also strongly believes in much-needed sustainability and responsible businesses. It's time to understand the role of women in corporate leadership. Let's have the introduction on the screen, please.
Malini Thadani, an accomplished and visionary leader. Malini Thadani serves as an independent director on the board of AU Small Finance Bank Limited. With a distinguished career that spans both the public and private sectors, Malini brings a wealth of knowledge and experience. A former civil servant of the Indian Revenue Service with 22 years of service at HSBC, she has played a pivotal role in driving sustainability initiatives across 19 Asian markets. Malini's impact extends beyond the corporate world. She is an influential figure in various industry bodies and not-for-profit organizations. Currently, she holds directorial positions in AU Small Finance Bank, Mirai Asset Investment Managers India Private Limited, Lighthouse Communities Foundation, Access Development Services, and also serves as a trustee of Watershed Organization Trust, Apnalay and Shoshit Seva Sangh. Please welcome Malini Thadani.
Good morning, everyone. And it's absolutely fantastic to be back here in Indore. It feels like a first time to me. The last 2 times I came to Indore, it was just for a day and never got an opportunity to visit the city, but more importantly, to meet its residents, its citizens, and its women. So it's absolutely fantastic to be here amongst you and to have met so many of you doing such fantastic work. And we know with such enthusiasm and so verve and vigor. So it's absolutely great. Yesterday I came early in the morning and was taken on a whistle-stop tour of Indore, saw the Rajwada, and went to your famous Chappan and enjoyed the poha again and again, which was fantastic. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful conclave, and it's really a delight to meet so many fantastic women all in the same place. So, you've asked me to talk about women's role in, sort of corporate leadership. I'd like to talk really about women in the workplace. And your conclave is actually come at a time which is very, very interesting. Because just last week, there's a professor in the US who's been awarded the Nobel Prize for Economics for her years-long study on women in the workplace and the gender gap. And, so she's tried to find the reasons for that gender gap in the US, of course, but I think her messages and her studies resonate all over the world and certainly in our country too. Thinking of these issues, and in this room you have so many entrepreneurs, you have so many people who can actually create employment. So you're workforce as workers, but you're women in the workforce as employers as well. So it's actually fantastic because you have the opportunity to take more women along with you on this journey. So the workplace as we know it is actually only about 200 years old or less, because it started with industry and industrialization. So before that, you had men and women working together. You had hunters and gatherers, and you had the men doing the hunting, the women doing the gathering. And so the activity was closer to home. You had the farm, and people worked together, both men and women worked together. It was only when industrialization came, when cities were built, when offices came up, when factories came, that you had men going away to work and thought that they did really important stuff because their work was bringing food to the table. And that's when women got relegated to the backseat. In the West, women came back into the workplace in the First World War. And at that time, men went to war, and you needed the women to run the machines. And so then they were considered capable of running the machines, which till then they hadn't been considered capable of. And so you had, I think the numbers I have, in 1914, you had 26% women who were in the workplace, and that went up to 36%. The war got over, men came back, and women went back home. But again, the Second World War came, and again women came back into the workplace. And again, the numbers went up, so it went back to 36% in 1943. But that number wasn't big enough, and certainly women weren't given important roles to play. They were just considered to be good enough to be workers in the workplace. So I think all that has changed in these last few years, and we see that many more women who are in the workplace now, leading organizations, leading in, sort of their companies, leading their units and their departments as well. Coming to, sort of to my experiences personally, when I started work, that was in 1980. And, so I joined the Indian government and went up to, do a foundation course in Mussoorie at the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy. There was one ladies' block, a room, a space, a hostel for about 50 women. And we were about 550 or 600 people who joined the Indian Civil Services that year. So that was about 10%. I went to the Indian Revenue Service, into the National Academy in Nagpur. Again, out of a group of 60, a batch of 60 people, we were 6 women. So that again was 10%. And this year, I think in May or June, they announced the results for the Indian Civil Services. There were 34% women. So that's a huge change. Of the 34% women, the top 4 positions in the civil service list went to women. So that's a huge change and a huge achievement for women. in the civil services. I think of the top 20 positions, 20 have gone to women. So, so that's the transition. This afternoon, I think we're going to hear Squadron Leader Paridhi talk about her experiences in the armed services. So you didn't have women in the armed services for the longest time. Now, not only, do they get short service commissions, but they can have entire careers in the armed services. So really looking forward to hearing from her and her experiences. And other than that, of course, there are, this galaxy of ladies who are going to talk about their experiences and their expertise in the workplace. So I think there's a huge change from way back then to now as to the contributions that women have made. When I joined, I left government and I joined HSBC. And the first day I went to work, I walked into the branch on the ground floor. And it was buzzing with activity, lots of color, went up to the first floor, the branch head office, lots of color. Then I came up to the main head office floor. And suddenly, it was all very quiet, fewer people, and no color. So I looked around and I said, what happened here? And then I saw that the color was like that table over there in the corner. It was black, it was gray, it was blue, because that was the men's corner. So in this room too, you can see that's the men's corner. So there are, the color comes from the women in the room, that color comes from the women in the organization. And so I exhort you, gentlemen, please wear more colors. But I must applaud you. So it's wonderful that there are some men in the room, because this is not about women in the workplace is not about women alone. Women in the workplace is about men as well. And it's about how men treat women as equals and how women treat men as equals in the workplace. So I think the next time you have a women's conclave, please have half the room full of men, because men need to be here. And on that note, I think it's also wonderful, and last night meeting so many of you from the IMA, I think it's creditable that the Indore Management Association does not differentiate. So while you have a women's forum and a women's group and a women's conclave, your members are all together in the IMA. So you don't have a separate division or a separate organization or entity for women alone. I think it's fantastic. And Mr. Rathi, congratulations for this fantastic organization and all the accolades you've received. And I hope that one day we will also see a woman president of the IMA. So, so we're looking forward to that. So there have been women in the workplace for the longest time, as I said. But what's happened is that there aren't that many women. So we have 48% of the country's population is women. But only 9% of women in the workplace are at work. 9% of women, there are 400 million workers, and there are only 39 million workers, women. So that's a huge difference and a gap that we need to fill. And when you look at the working space, at the top of the table, and we've got Avani here, who's been a CEO of one of our leading companies, and many, not one, but many leading Indian companies and multinational companies. But today, of the 2,000 odd companies that are listed on the National Stock Exchange, only 100 of those companies have women CEOs. The government made a rule that we must have independent directors, and we must have at least one woman director on company boards. Today, there are about 7,000 independent directors, but only about 25% of them are women. So that means that even today, companies see the need to have women on their boards as a tick box. That I must have one because Sarkar bolti hai hona chahiye, regulation says, MCA says I must have, but it's not because they see the intrinsic value in having women coming up to, to the boardroom. So I think that's the attitude, and those are the, the things that we need to change. So coming back to Claudia Goldin, she worked for 20 years, and she collected data for, some 200 years. And what she did was, very interestingly, identified the reasons why there is a gender gap. She identified the reasons why women don't come to the workplace, and the reasons we all know. You're, involved in early marriage. A lot of women get married, and then after that, you raise a family, and, you're able then to focus only on that and not focus on the workplace quite so much. those changes have happened. And interestingly, coming up on the flight yesterday, I saw a BBC article. And again, I guess this is being written in the wake of Ms. Golden's Nobel Prize. But the fact is that people are now thinking about this issue once again. And so this article said that the workplace, so in the West, and that workplace in India too, the corporate workplace has changed because women have started getting married later. Women have started having children later on in life. And because of that, they're able to focus on studies. So the first gap was that women didn't study well enough. And if you look back in time, our mothers, grandmothers, whoever worked, you were always told, oh, you can be a teacher. You had so many women who went into the nursing profession. It was a noble profession. Very few women were doctors. So for about, say, 50, 60, 70 years ago, you had many more people who were nurses. So there were certain professions where you were acceptable and needed, but many other places where you weren't invited to join because you couldn't. You did not have that education, and because you were married off early, and like you just mentioned, you actually finished your studies after you were married, and you negotiated with your in-laws and your parents. I think that's fantastic because you were able to get that acceptance and that, so from your family, that you must continue your studies and you must continue to engage in the workplace. And I think that's what all of us have to do, is to find ways in which to be, ourselves, be who we are and who we want to be. And so that's very important. The other few things that we need to do is to learn to be, and yesterday, in fact, I met Ishani and Garjana, who both of them said that they're teaching people financial inclusion. And I think that's fantastic, because how many of us, remember, we've all, our finances have been managed at home by our parents, our father, and you get married and your husband takes over. So invest kahan karna hai, paise kahan jayenge, all that decision is taken by the men in the family. But increasingly, I think I've got some interesting numbers here, that we have more and more women who are now taking these decisions also. And so let me give you some interesting data, which is that COVID made a big change. So you had 47 lakh women were investing in mutual funds in 2020. Today, that number has gone up to 76 lakhs. That means more women, I think that deserves a big hand, have started investing and have started taking decisions. The other thing is that there are younger women who are making these decisions. So the age gap 25 to 45 is the time when women are increasing their interest in taking financial decisions. So really that's very, very important. Now Indore is a T30 city, and which means that this is in the tier, so one of cities where money comes, money flows. And in Indore also the number of women who are investing is on the increase. Number of bank accounts. I think post-COVID, also with the use of technology that we have, 80% of women in the country have bank accounts now. But the fact is that while there are 80% women who have bank accounts in the country, we only contribute 17% of the GDP. So we don't use our bank accounts that much. We don't really know how to use our bank accounts that much. We don't know how to invest. We don't know how to save. And I think that's why you have, so people who are teaching financial inclusion. It's fantastic that women are now grasping that opportunity. And again, like you said, we have an innate sense of numbers. We have an innate sense of knowing how to manage, how to do budgeting, because that's what we do in the household every day. And so we should use that in our investments, in our taking financial decisions as well. So I think that's another thing that we can, make a change with. The other thing, and I think again Indore is a huge, eye-opener for me, and it's been fantastic to see how much enterprise there is. And you have so many, in this room is full of entrepreneurs. You are ladies who are running businesses, who are running your own enterprises. In the country, 20%, and that's still a low number, only 20% of MSMEs are run by women. So again, this room excluded, there's a huge opportunity for women to get engaged in enterprise. And I think that's going to make the change that we will be able to bring about, to bring parity so that So we can also hold up half the sky. We are 50% of this country's population or thereabouts, and we need to have that place to be able to hold up the rest of along with the men, hold up half the sky. So I'll end with a one of my favorite songs. It's by a group called Creedence Clearwater Revival, which none of you will know because it's from the 1970s and 80s. Some of you might know. And again, I've distorted it a bit. But I love the quote. It says, "Teach your children well. Where their mothers held it, slowly go by. Feed them on your dreams. The ones they pick is the one they'll know by." So this is what we have to do. We have to dream, and we have to dream the impossible, because only when you dream the impossible can you make it possible. And anything we dream is possible. So good luck. Thank you so much.
We are very glad you liked our poha. You've made all the Indoris sitting here very happy. Thank you, Ms. Malini. Knowing our history is as important as looking ahead in future, and it shows how far we have come from. And your belief in equality resonates with all of us. Thank you for such an extremely informative talk. Thank you. Now, breaking news. We have Ms. Nidhi Kulpatti with us. It's time to take a peek in the highly interesting world of media and the journey of Nidhi, a seasoned journalist. Can we have a small introduction of Ms. Nidhi?
Nidhi Kulpatti. Nidhi Kulpatti currently holds the position of Managing Editor at NDTV India, a prominent Hindi news channel in India that broadcasts news and current affairs nationwide. She has been a senior news anchor and reader at NDTV and has hosted numerous shows, including Mukhyamantri Chale Gaon, Yuva Sansad, Delhi Darbar, and Prime Time. Nidhi Kulpatti's unwavering commitment and hard work propelled her to the pinnacle of journalism, making her one of India's most successful journalists in the field. Known for her composed and tranquil demeanor, she received the prestigious Pandit Hari Dutt Sharma Award in 2017 in recognition of her outstanding contributions to journalism. Nidhi Kulpatti also felicitated with the News Broadcasting Award and the National Television Award in 2010. Apart from these awards, Nidhi was also honored with the INB for the Best News Anchor for Hindi News. Please welcome Nidhi Kulpatti.
A very good morning to all of you here. Thank you, Indore Management Association, and to have this conclave here of women leaders. It's actually truly very inspiring to be here, and a big respite from the Delhi air and the world of news. Thank you so much once again. I'm taking this event as a celebration of lives of women achievers, their aspirations, even our homemakers, young professionals, young startup women whom I just met sometime before this show started, and our homemakers, and even I want to remember and think about the women who are still struggling and who want to be and participate, be in this room, and I think so it's time that we do their hand-holding also. Just yesterday night, we had this dinner and we met a group of women and who were the committee members of this women association. The verve and the energy in them basically was so infectious, and that just made me thinking why this conclave is so successful with all smiles and people, women over here. It's the participation and the contribution. So these are two key words I feel that women need to participate and need to contribute, and that is what is somehow there, but in the larger society somewhere it is still missing, or it is not in the quantity that it should be. ऐसा नहीं है कि हमारी राजनीतिक महिलाएं राजनीतिक के क्षेत्र में नहीं रही हैं. हम इंदिरा गांधी का नाम ले लेते हैं, हम मायावती का नाम ले लेते हैं, हम जयललिता जी का नाम ले लेते हैं. हमारे सामने ममता बनर्जी अभी हैं. आज की पीढ़ी के लिए मैं बात कर रही हूँ जो आज बहुत यंग गर्ल्स यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं. हमारा देश एक बहुत युवा देश है. 50% आबादी इस समय 25 साल से कम की है और 60% आबादी हमारे देश में 35 साल की है. तो आप सोच सकते हैं कि कितने हम युवा हैं. और शायद इनको ये नाम ना पता हो कि किस तरह से सुचेता कृपलानी ने, उत्तर प्रदेश की वो मुख्यमंत्री थी 1960 में. नंदिनी सतपथी थी मुख्यमंत्री 1970 में. शशिकला नाम की मुख्यमंत्री थी गोवा में 70 के दशक में. तो महिलाओं का पार्टिसिपेशन रहा है, लेकिन उनकी संख्या बल क्यों नहीं बढ़ा? क्योंकि आज की संसद में केवल 14% से कुछ ज़्यादा ही महिला सांसद हैं, और जो कैंडिडेट जिनको उम्मीदवार बनाया जाता है वो सिर्फ 9% है. जो हमारी संविधान की समिति थी जो बनाई गई थी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली, उसमें 299 लोग थे, सिर्फ 15 महिलाएं थीं. उसमें एक महिला केरल की आदिवासी महिला थी जिनका नाम शायद दक्षिणा था, और वो अपने समाज की एकमात्र महिला थी जिन्होंने महिलाओं को, खासतौर से दलित महिलाओं को, जो ऊपरी वस्त्र था, they had to walk bare chested, but she defied it and she rose to a position कि उनको समझा गया, वो पढ़ी लिखी. उस समय केरल एक दौर से गुजर रहा था, तो उसका फ़ायदा एक तरह से उनको मिला शिक्षा में, और वो इस तरह से उभरी कि उनको कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली में शामिल किया गया. तो 299 लोगों में 15 महिलाएं जो थी, उनमें से वो एक दलित महिला की आवाज़ थी. लेकिन ये संख्या बल बढ़ा क्यों नहीं है? क्या कारण है कि संख्या बल बढ़ता नहीं है? हमें सरकार, अब देखिए हाल ही में जो 33% आरक्षण महिलाओं को मिल गया है 3 दशक के बाद, यानी 30 सालों के बाद. ये शुरुआत हुई थी कब? 1996 में, उससे पहले, और अब जाकर इसकी पूर्ति हुई है. लेकिन ये क्रियान्वयन कब होगा? ज़मीन पर कब उतरेगा? 2024 में नहीं उतरेगा, 2029 तक कहा जा रहा है उतर सकता है, लेकिन कोई टाइम फ्रेम इसके लिए नहीं है. तो इंटेंशन है सबकी, सब लोग बात करते हैं, हमें मुख्यमंत्री महिलाएं मिल जाती हैं, और लोकल लेवल पे रिजर्वेशन है, जो पंचायती स्तर है, ग्राम पंचायत हैं, उसमें कई राज्यों में 50% तक रिजर्वेशन है. लेकिन क्यों नहीं महिलाओं का संख्या बल इतना उभरा है? एक समस्या, जो छोटी समस्या है, वो सामने ये आती है कि हमारी सोच अभी तक नहीं बदली है. क्योंकि सरपंच पति आ जाता है, और ये ऐसा सब जगह नहीं है, लेकिन महिलाओं को सामने रखकर पुरुष प्रधान जो हमारा समाज है वो कार्य करता है. तो एक मैं बात कर रही थी, हमारा अभी एक कार्यक्रम हुआ था कुछ सरपंच को लेकर, मुझे याद है एक इंटरव्यू करा था. तो उत्तराखंड में 50% है रिजर्वेशन महिलाओं के लिए, लेकिन उनका वो योगदान पूरा नहीं हो पाता. उनको हस्ताक्षर करने में ज़रूरत पड़ती है कि वो पति ही आएंगे करेंगे. महाराष्ट्र से मैं एक वाकया पढ़ रही थी कि अभी भी अगर आप सरपंच बन जाती हैं, लेकिन जो वहाँ पर एक म्यूनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन का जिस तरह से एक सहायक वो होता है, वहाँ पर उनको एंट्रेंस नहीं मिल पाती क्योंकि उनके नाम पर ज़मीन नहीं होती. और इस दौरान ये भी बात बार बार सामने आती है कि जो हमारी महिलाएं हैं वो किसान नहीं हैं. आप ज़्यादातर महिलाओं को किसान में, हमारा ग्रामीण प्रधान देश है, किसानों में आप देखते होंगे खेतों में किस तरह से महिलाएं ज़मीन पर बैठ के काम कर रही हैं. लेकिन क्योंकि मुआवजे की जब बात आ जाती है, जो पति है, बेटा है, उसी को ही मुआवजा मिलता है, उसी को ही, क्योंकि वही पुरुष एक किसान है, महिलाएं किसान नहीं है. ये एक त्रुटि है. अगर यहाँ के माध्यम से कोई सुन रहा होगा तो महिलाओं को किसान के दर्जे में शामिल करना बेहद ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि वो एक खेतीहर किसान है, उसको किसानी का दर्जा मिलना चाहिए. तो पार्टिसिपेशन की बात हो रही थी, रिप्रेजेंटेशन की बात हो रही थी। अभी हाल ही में उत्तर प्रदेश के चुनाव हुए तो कांग्रेस ने 40% वोट्स सीट्स जो थी कैंडिडेट्स उम्मीदवार महिलाओं को उतारा, लेकिन महिलाएं जीती नहीं। क्यों नहीं जीती महिलाएं? अगर आपने उनको वोट्स कैंडिडेट्स दिए हैं, जो एक दायित्व होता है पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का, और अगर वो चुनकर नहीं आ रही है, इसका मतलब ये है कि जो हमारे समाज में सोच है वो भी बदली नहीं है, वो भरोसा नहीं कर पा रही हैं। या तो वो महिला कैंडिडेट्स उम्मीदवार जीत कर आ जाती हैं जो राजनीतिक परिवारों से हैं, कनेक्टेड हैं, या उनके पास धन बल है कि वो अपनी प्रचार ठीक से कर पाती हैं। तो अगर महिलाएं उतर भी रही हैं तो उनको आर्थिक सहायता मौजूद ज़रूरी करनी चाहिए। अब ये सवाल उठता है कि क्यों कराई जाए, क्योंकि हर चीज़ पैसे के पैमाने पर तोली जाती है। लेकिन अगर एक महिला सशक्त है और जो और महिलाएं सशक्त हैं वो मदद कर सकती हैं। मैं ये आपको इसलिए कह रही हूँ कि एक समय जब आता है कि जो सशक्त महिलाएं हो जाती हैं, जो एक मुकाम पे पहुँच जाती हैं, यहाँ पर हम देख सकते हैं, यहाँ पर तमाम लोग बैठे हुए हैं, we need hand holding. The women who are still struggling but who have a spark in them, they need hand holding, be it by political parties, be it by organizations, be it by companies. I think so that could make a difference and we can take it forward. एक और मसला है जो मैं महिलाओं के संदर्भ में कहना चाह रही थी, that how women along with everyone can make a very impactful, not only an impact in a place, in their village, in a town, in a city, but also in our country. जिस तरह से अभी मैं देख रही थी मालिनी जी बात कर रही थी of men participation. एक small example I like to give you. राजस्थान में एक छोटा सा गांव है देवडूंगरी। वहाँ पर अरुणा रॉय 1987 में आकर बसी। शी लेफ्ट हर सिविल सर्विसेज, शायद वो दक्षिण केरल के काडर की थी। शी केम देयर, उनके साथ जुड़े निखिल डे जो एयर मार्शल के बेटे थे और अमेरिका में थे, और यहाँ पर आकर उनके साथ जुड़े। साथ ही मैंने पढ़ा शंकर सिंह, वो वहीं के राजस्थान के देवडूंगरी के एक वेरी गुड कम्युनिकेटर ही वाज देयर। इन लोगों ने मिलकर एक संगठन बनाया और गांव में बसे। तो गांव वालों को पहले ये लगा कि क्यों आ रहे हैं, क्या हमारी ज़मीन हड़पना चाहते हैं, क्यों यहाँ पे रह रहे हैं। तो ये वो लोग वहाँ पर लकड़ी काट कर बिना बिजली के रहते थे, पानी के कम साधन होते हैं राजस्थान में, आप सब जानते हैं। तो उन्होंने वहाँ पर जीवन यापन अपना शुरू किया। धीरे धीरे लोगों का भरोसा जीता, बिजली आई, पानी आया, लोगों को उनके अधिकारों के बारे में पता लगा। एंड फिर हमारे देश में राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन एक्ट 2005 which is there, ये उन्हीं की देन है। सो अरुणा रॉय ने और पुरुषों के साथ मिलकर ये देन हमारे देश को दी है। I think so this is a true example that we all need to work together, men and women, and हम वो हासिल कर सकते हैं हमारे देश के लिए जो हम सब भारतीयों के लिए, हम सब भारतवासियों के लिए एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण योगदान है और जो हमें आगे तक ले जाएगा। तो एक हैंड होल्डिंग की बात की मैंने, सबके साथ काम करने की मैंने बात की, यही विचार मेरे मन में आ रहा था। और एक और विचार था अबाउट आवर सोशो कल्चरल हेरिटेज विच इज़ देयर। ख़ास तौर से महिलाओं पर इसका दायित्व आ जाता है इसको आगे बढ़ाने का, और वो बखूबी निभाती भी हैं। मैं रानी अहिल्याबाई होलकर का यहाँ पे जिक्र करूँगी कि उन्होंने जो योगदान दिया वो सिर्फ मध्य प्रदेश तक सीमित नहीं है, तमाम राज्यों में भी सीमित, वहाँ तक उनकी छाप पड़ी है। मैं शायद कुछ जल्दबाजी में इसलिए बोल रही हूँ क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा है मैं कुछ गलत ना बोल जाऊँ लेकिन जो ये संदर्भ था मैं इसलिए लेकर आई। आज मैं देख रही हूँ तमाम महिलाएं हमारे ट्रेडिशनल जो पोशाकों में हैं, ये एक विरासत से लेकर आए हैं सब। कोई अपनी मामी, दादी, चाचा, चाची, माँ, बहन। तो ये एक अनसेड विरासत है, कल्चरल विरासत जो हम आगे बढ़ाते हैं। सो वुमेन आर द टॉर्च बेयरर्स ऑफ द कल्चरल हेरिटेज ऑफ दिस country, which we do it, unknowingly we do it, and we don't get recognized. And today at this platform, I want to really thank our mothers, our sisters, our cousins, who unknowingly have done so much for this country and taken it forward. अब कल ही मिसेस राठी से मुलाकात हुई और उन्होंने मुझे एक आलू की सब्जी की रेसिपी बताई. उन्होंने कहा कि मुझे मेरी सास ने बताई थी. It was so good, and I thought, should I mention it at this platform or not? But why am I mentioning it? That there are certain things that when we have women who are breaking, trade deals, who are cracking a deal, यहाँ पर millions and billions के transaction कर रहे हैं, लेकिन वहाँ पे एक वो महिला है जो इतना पोषक खाना बना रही है, क्योंकि तभी तो आप अपने बोर्ड मीटिंग में जाकर कुछ सोच पाएंगे, विचार कर पाएंगे. यहाँ पर जो पुरुष वर्ग बैठे हैं, जो हमारी दादी, नानी, माँ, बहन सब हैं जो किचन में लगी रहती हैं, आई वॉन्ट टू रियली थैंक देम. मेरी माँ गुजरी पिछले साल, तो अब मैं वो कोशिश करती हूँ वो चीज़ें बनाने की, और उनका महत्व, क्योंकि बाय वर्ड ऑफ माउथ वो रेसिपी मेरे पास आई है, अब मेरे फैमिली में जाएगी, फिर और आगे चली जाएगी. सो आई रियली वांट टू थैंक मिस्टर राठीज मदर कि उन्होंने वो रेसिपी दी आपकी वाइफ को और उन्होंने हमें बताया. तो ये तो बात हो गई हमारे कल्चरल सोशल ट्रेडिशंस की, लेकिन एक बात है जो बहुत चिंताजनक है हम भारतीय महिलाओं के लिए, और वो रोज़ उससे मैं डील करती हूँ, और उसका बिना जिक्र करे मैं यहाँ पे रह नहीं सकती हूँ. वो है क्राइम अगेंस्ट वुमेन. वो बहुत बढ़ रहा है. तो जब मैंने किसी पुलिस अधिकारी से बात की, मैंने कहा देखिए 2011 से 2021 के आंकड़े आए हैं कि 87% बढ़ गया, 87% इट इज इंक्रीज्ड. सो व्हाट ही सेड वाज कि ये अब ज़्यादा नोट हो रहा है. बट अगर ये सिर्फ नोट हो रहा है, उससे बढ़ रहा है, तो ये रुक क्यों नहीं रहा है जब हम तमाम कानून लेकर आए. इंदौर की बात है, आप लोग, मुझे याद है पिछले महीने हम सब लोग हिल गए थे 2-3 दिन के लिए, जब एक 12 वर्षीय लड़की जो मानसिक तौर पर कमज़ोर थी, कितने किलोमीटर चली थी, उसका सामूहिक बलात्कार हुआ था, और किसी ने उसे निर्वस्त्र चल रही थी, किसी ने उसकी मदद नहीं की थी. फिर कितने किलोमीटर चलने के बाद उसको एक आश्रम में एक आचार्य थे, यंग बॉय, हेल्प्ड हर, कपड़े दिए, उसको ढका. एंड आचार्य से मैंने इंटरव्यू किया, क्योंकि ऐसे लोगों का प्रोत्साहन करना बहुत ज़रूरी है जो खुलकर निडर होकर मदद करते हैं, उनमें इंसानियत बची हुई है. और उनका ये कहना था कि मैंने 2 बारी 100 नंबर पर फ़ोन लगाया, लेकिन किसी ने फ़ोन नहीं उठाया. फिर बाद में पुलिस आई. हमारी मीडिया की भी गलती है. 2 दिन तक हमने बात की, उसके बाद तीसरे दिन क्या हुआ नहीं पता. लेकिन मैं इसको यहाँ पर इसलिए मेंशन कर रही हूँ क्योंकि ऐसे एक मामले नहीं, अनेकों मामले. एक ये मामला यहाँ पे हुआ होगा, हम इंसानियत की बात कर सकते हैं, चुनावी माहौल यहाँ पर है, लेकिन निर्भया के बाद भी उससे पहले एक मामला हुआ था, लेकिन जो तमाम रेपिस्ट थे उनको बरी इसलिए कर दिया गया था क्योंकि पुलिस ने वो ठीक से जो सबूत थे वो दर्ज नहीं किए. ये कोर्ट का कहना रहा. मेरी कोशिश ये, मैं कोर्ट पर सवाल नहीं उठा रही हूँ, लेकिन मैं इस पे सवाल उठा रही हूँ कि क्यों जो अपराधी हैं वो बच निकलते हैं, क्यों हम संवेदनहीन हो गए हैं कि इस तरह के अपराध से लोग निकल जाते हैं, और जो सबसे कमज़ोर वर्ग है वो कुछ कह नहीं पाता. ऐसा नहीं कि कमज़ोर वर्ग ही है, इसमें सशक्त महिलाएं भी हैं. हमारी विमेन रेसलर्स थी, आपको याद होगा, पिछले कुछ महीने पहले वो धरने पर थी. रात जब उन्होंने गुजारी जंतर मंतर पर, दूसरे दिन में वो पहुंच गई थी वहाँ पर. मैंने उनसे इंटरव्यू किया, एक बार ही चला, उसके बाद नहीं चला. मणिपुर में जो महिलाएं थीं, किस तरह से उनको निर्वस्त्र कराकर वॉक ओवर करा चलाया गया था. अब बात यह है कि एक महिला एक औजार बन जाता है जब पुरुष को अपनी सत्ता दिखानी होती है, महिलाएं और बच्चे. तो हमारी कोशिश यही है, मेरी कोशिश हमेशा यही रहती है मीडिया में, कि जो महिलाओं से जुड़े सरोकार हैं, महिलाओं से जुड़ी बातें हैं, हम उनको सामने रखें और पुरजोर तरीके से सामने रखें, क्योंकि यही हमारा कार्य है एक तरह से. लेकिन समाज में जो और परिवर्तन आ रहे हैं उनको भी हमें देखना होगा, समझना होगा. आपका तो चुनावी राज्य है और हम देख सकते हैं कि कितने वादे आप लोगों को किए जा रहे हैं. उम्मीद करते हैं कि वो फलीभूत हों. तो मैं अंत में सिर्फ एक वाक्य कहूँगी, वो मैंने सुना है, वो शायद हमारे शास्त्रों में भी कहा गया है कि the soul doesn't have a gender. Only this flesh has a gender. By this flesh I'm a woman. तो हमारा जो अंतर मन है वो भेद नहीं करता कि हम महिला हैं या पुरुष हैं. तो जो हमारा शरीर है उसी के अनुसार हम महिला या पुरुष होते हैं. तो अपने पे भरोसा रखिए, आगे बढ़िए, और जो आप सब सशक्त महिलाएं यहाँ पर हैं, जो कमज़ोर महिलाएं हैं, उनका साथ ज़रूर दीजिए, उनकी आवाज़ ज़रूर उठाइए, क्योंकि इतना तो हम कर ही सकते हैं. धन्यवाद. नमस्कार.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nidhi. You talked about how participation and recognition of women is so important, and you brought up a very crucial point of women's safety, and which should not die down, and media helps in bringing that into light, and thank you so much. Curiosity, especially intellectual curiosity, is what separates the truly alive from those who are merely going through the motions. After hearing these compelling stories, it brings a lot of questions in our minds. We have Ms. Chani Trivedi here to explore more on that with the expert speakers.
Hello. Am I audible? Yeah. Thank you, Prachi. We've had wonderful sessions. I think I'm kind of speechless because I prepared a list of questions, and when you hear them, I think all these questions become very relevant. That where do you see yourself, and all these things. They are very, very typical questions. Kirti ma'am, when I heard your story, I think each one of us could relate to that story in some or the other way. We have challenges at home. We have challenges at work. And when you were speaking, I think you're speaking not for the ones who are sitting inside, but for the country and for the world as a whole, probably. And Nidhi ma'am, it is very difficult to ask questions to somebody who raises questions. So, but, one thing that probably we as women should do around us, you said we should help less privileged women. But other than that, what do you think the group here should have one takeaway from you today, which will help them to change their mindset? Because I think around women there's a lot of stereotyping also. HR है, रंगोली बनाती है. लड़की है, family business, इसका तो नाम डाल दिया होगा क्योंकि qualification है. News journalist है, news reader के नाम पे जानी जाती है. So there is so much stereotyping around this. I think what is one thing that we as women should take away with us today from each one of you?
Well, I think so. You guys are more inspirational. I just met this girl called Khanak here. बहुत छोटी सी प्यारी सी लड़की है, and she is saying that she wants to make shea butter out of mahua seeds. And अंग्रेजों ने कैसे बैन किया था. So I feel, and she wants to explore this idea. So I think so. You young girls are more inspirational. And one idea, a takeaway that I can give is basically women need to act as a fraternity. We need to act as a fraternity. It was so inspiring to meet the young group yesterday at the residence. You guys were so actively involved in, ye bhi hoga, wo bhi hoga, and just being together. Somehow this seems to be missing. I'll just give you a very small example. जब संसद में ये सवाल आया कि महिलाओं को should get the equal pay as men, ये बहुत पहले की बात है, शायद 1980-85 की बात है. तो 1/3 of जो महिलाएं तब मौजूद थी वो नहीं आई. तो जब ये मैंने पढ़ा मुझे ठीक नहीं लगा. मैंने कहा साथ रहना चाहिए. आपको सशक्त हम तभी बन सकते हैं जब साथ हो. ऐसा नहीं है, देखिए सब कहेंगे कि हम बराबरी पर हैं, हम आधी आबादी हैं. But then it took me such a long, I have been working for 33 years nearly. So just last year, 1.5 साल पहले ही I got this designation. But it took a woman to give me this designation.
I will not forget this. So what I'm trying to say is that I will do my bit, you kindly do your bit. That is the only takeaway I can.
Thank you. I think I'll just have to echo that we have to work together, and we don't call it a fraternity, we call it a sorority. because really, and again I'll speak from my, some my personal experience, I've had more women bosses than I've had men bosses, and I can tell you some of the women bosses have been horrible. So we've got to work with empathy, we've got to work with sympathy for each other, and also treat everyone as an equal. So for me in the workplace, I never thought of myself as a woman. I never thought of anyone else as my colleagues were not men or women. They were colleagues, they were people who were doing a job, and they were supposed to deliver what they were hired to do. They were not there because they were men, they were not there because they were women. And I can tell you, in the years that I was at HSBC, I worked with teams in India and so overseas as well, and I can say with great pride, there are 6 women whom I had employed in each of these places. There were 2 in India, there were 2 in Hong Kong, there was 1 in Malaysia, there was 1 in Korea. These women were hired by me. I recruited them, I interviewed them, and after they had been appointed, they came to me or they rang me up and they said, we are pregnant. And of those 6, 4 of them said, I will resign or I won't join the company because I'm pregnant and I will be a hindrance to your work. And I told every one of them, no, you were appointed because you are capable, you are the right fit for the job, and therefore you must join. And yes, if you have to have a baby, go take your maternity leave in time and have a baby and come back to work. But that was... A lot of people told me, why are you doing this? You're going to have someone walking away from work within 6 months or 7 months. Every one of them is still working in the organization and every one of them has contributed. So you've got to treat people with equal attention and equal empathy. So we're all genderless in the workplace and let's work like that.
So, our life starts with the family, sitting here and in the family, there are several times, 2 generations minimum, 3 generations also stay together. And coming from 3 different generations, they have a different culture, different mindset and different, thought processes. So today's young generation is, I would say that they are blessed for their conditioning, their education, and their social environment they are receiving. But it's a bit difficult for the previous generation and the previous generation from them. So all I want to say is that just support the women in your family, that's for the men too. You don't need to change the whole world to make a difference. Just change your small world and the world will anyways better place to live in.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure hearing. I think we have lots of questions, but we also have some time constraints. So let us proceed. And thank you very much. It was really, really inspirational. And I am very happy. अगर शुरुआत ऐसी है तो बाकी का दिन कैसा जाएगा?